in 4 series. Guys, we're going to be doing a couple of these throughout the next few weeks. And what we want to do is we want to stay on topic. We want to leave these more as sessions where we can give you guys information. And at the end of the call, we can kind of go over some Q&As for that call. Now, remember, anything that's a little bit deeper, you need a little bit more one-on-one information. That's what those 15-minute calls are for. And as Garrett and I have been telling you guys, feel free to schedule multiple ones if you really need to go in depth during this Transform in 4 challenge. We want to make sure, we want to ensure that you guys are getting the most out of it. And from what I'm seeing so far, you guys are kicking ass. So we want to continue that trend and keep it rocking. So without further ado, tonight, we are going to be doing our myth busting presentation. So what we're going to discuss tonight, we're going to look at common nutrition myths that impact a lot of people or most people. Keep in mind that not everything is, you know, not everyone has these preconceptions or notions, or it won't affect every single person on this call. But I would imagine that some are going to stand out to you, and you're going to be like, you know, just like we were when we heard this information originally, kind of a little bit confused. So we want to make sure that we're kind of deciphering through that and sifting through what's kind of the truth and what's a little bit of that, you know, Instagram bullshit that you guys have probably seen on your feeds. We want to understand tonight the science behind effectively fueling your body and understanding that process. And then address the common questions and concerns that you guys have been asking us. We hear it on our calls. You guys have sent a couple over to Ashley, which is great. You know, utilizing your resource. And we want to address as many as we can tonight. So with that being said, I want to kick off the call kind of by dishing this over to Ashley. If you guys don't know Ashley, you should. She's incredible. She's an amazing resource that we have. We want to get her in front of you even more in this next year. We're really excited to do that. She has been working with a bunch of our clients and seeing amazing results through our nutrition program, but she also is just a great earpiece and helps us a lot with our nutrition coaching within the program. So Ashley, why don't you take it away, girl, and we'll get it started.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm excited to get into all of this with y'all. And of course, we can talk further one-on-one in time if you would like. All right. So first topic tonight that we're going to go over is protein. And the first part of it being plant versus animal protein. There's always a different camp there. One's animal, one's plant. The answer is they're both good. It's not that one's better than the other, but they are different. Animal protein is more complete. You can get all of your essential amino acids from it. Plant proteins require a lot more variety and combinations, and essentially it's just a lot more planning, but nothing wrong with it. It comes down to what is good for you and what you prefer. All right. And then just the main focus there with protein is getting your total protein in for the day, not necessarily plant versus animal. All right. And then the next aspect of protein, how much do I need? So that's it can be a loaded question, but in general, we want to kind of go off the basis of anywhere from 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight. So for example, if you're 150 pounds or your goal is to be 150 pounds and you want to be intaking 150 grams of protein per day, that's generally incredibly safe for anybody. Sometimes it seems to be a lot because it's typically the one macronutrient that people undereat. But it is very doable, and you would absolutely see and feel the change in your body if you're eating optimal amounts. A good way to kind of to stick with this is to make sure that you're getting anywhere from 20 to 40 grams of protein in at each snack and meal throughout the day. That generally is enough to hit most people's protein goals for the day. And it's not about being perfect. Nothing about nutrition is about perfection because it doesn't exist. It's about being consistent. So while, you know, hitting the same amount of protein is ideal. It's not the end all to be all. If you have a day where it's a little less or another day where it's more, it's fine. Just always stick with it. But it's good for so many aspects of the body. All right. And then for the next part of this protein myth was around breakfast, which was actually asked in the group. And so the next part is breakfast necessary before working out? Well, that depends. It's very individualized. But if you feel good fasted, then by all means, go for it. That's your choice. But many people will benefit from eating beforehand. It helps prevent muscle breakdown. It supports your energy, especially women who are in perimenopause and menopause. The extreme hormonal shifts that you're experiencing during that time, it's definitely more important for you in the sense of keeping you more stable, and because your cortisol will spike. So that stress hormone that we hear about all the time, that can help regulate that if you're fed going into that workout. There's many ways to achieve this. If it comes down to like a convenience time or you're just not used to eating or you don't like eating, there's a lot of ways we can work around that to where you're not feeling dizzy or low energy, that kind of stuff during the workout. And at the end of the day, if you really cannot have a breakfast of any sort, I do recommend that the dinner the night before is a very hearty meal, and it's carb heavy, because that can help carry over the energy that you're going to need to fuel the workout. So does that make sense? I hope so. And then just overall why breakfast matters. It, regulates your blood sugar. It helps with muscle protein synthesis. So that's just, the building of muscle, energy, and focus. And then getting in consistent quality breakfast, meaning like a good protein, a good carb, good fat, and not like a donut per se. Nothing's wrong with donuts. I love donuts. I'll eat them with the best of them. But that sets you up for better metabolic and hormone health and just your overall mood for the day. So that's the end of the actual protein myth. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, whatever, you can put them in the chat. Garrett's going to be monitoring the chat throughout all of this. And also, if the guys have anything they want to add to this, we'll take that time now before we move into the next myth, which is creatine.
Thanks, Ash. I appreciate that. I'll pop on real quick. So one of the big things that we see with clients is, again, when we say we look at that ideal protein amount and we say, let's use that 150 as an example. Say they're just really struggling. They're at 70 grams or 60 grams. They're just under eating that. Would you recommend, I know you mentioned it's not about being perfect, but how quickly would you recommend them getting to that 150? Is it as fast as possible, or is it something that you prefer to like taper up over time?
Ultimately, it depends at the end of the day, but yes, I generally recommend tapering up to it, just because it can cause GI distress if you've never eaten that much protein in one day, or it could just feel like a lot because it is satiating. So generally work that up over time. It can be, as quickly as a week, or as, slow as a month or more. It just depends.
Cool. Thank you, Ash.
Mm-hmm.
Ash, could you just talk, and maybe this is something we send out in the future, but two of the questions that I got a lot this last few weeks is, one, where do protein shakes fit into the equation? Because we have a lot of people that have tried them, people that feel GI distress, like a little stomach bloating or discomfort. How does that fit in? And then the second is like, you go to Vitamin Shop, Costco, everywhere's protein, and maybe this is something we send out to people, but how do I choose, how do I sort through all the craziness of thousands of choices of protein, some that are $100 for a pot, it seems like a week's worth, and others that are like $10 and it's 6 months worth, and just any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the supplement industry loves to make it complicated for us all. So to address the first question, where do protein shakes fit in? at the end of the day, a protein shake or any protein supplement is just that, a supplement. So it's always the goal to get your protein from whole food sources, but life is not perfect like that. So I never encourage a client to not use a protein supplement. If they need that to be able to meet their protein goal, by all means, or if you need it to, that's your first meal of the day because you need something quick and nutritious as you're heading out the door, by all means. It just depends on the client. Again, it's a lot of, it depends, unfortunately. But I do recommend it. And in some clients, it's first thing, some it's after a workout, some it's, before bed. It just depends. But they are very good to incorporate. And then as far as, where, what, how much, those kind of things, there's very specific labels or certification stamps that I look for on labels. GMP, I think it's ISF. I have to look at my notes. But there's certain things that I always check for on labels. And also you want to look for something that has minimal ingredients. So if it has an ingredient list that's like this, generally it's not the best for you. It's highly processed, and that's has more potential to cause some of that GI distress. If it's a whey protein, whey isolate, that's going to be the most pure and least upsetting to the stomach. Some people don't have any distress with any version of it, and others, they can only have certain types. I am able to recommend certain brands and types based on the individual, but there are certain qualifications that we can send out after this for you to look at and look for when choosing a supplement.
All right, good stuff, Ashley. Yeah, and just everyone, we'll probably send out some light reading. I know there's some good podcasts that address that issue as well that we can probably recommend. So look forward to, as this month goes along, getting some additional resources. And don't be afraid to reach out either on our 15-minute calls if you need help picking something out. That's a great topic to discuss with me and Andrew a little bit more in depth. Or if you want to go really in depth, that's what Ashley's there for as well. So let's move on to creatine.
All right. So creatine, there's so much hype and discussion around it. Garrett and I discussed earlier how it kind of comes in waves where all of a sudden you're hearing about it all the time and then you don't hear about it. There's been a lot of, it's bad for you, or it just fills you up with water, that kind of stuff. So is it worth the hype? Yes. Short answer, yes. Creatine is one of the most researched, safe, and effective supplements out there. It's something that our body naturally makes. It's something that we can get naturally from foods, but it is incredible for so many things. It supports your strength, your performance, your recovery, brain function, your mood, bone health, which especially for women, going through peri and menopause and postmenopause, like that's crucial as our bone health starts to decline at that point. It does increase cellular hydration, meaning that it just pushes water into the muscles in the sense of giving them more energy and ability to endure the workouts and recover. But it does not hold water underneath the skin, like cause the puffiness or bloating feeling. It is safe and effective for anybody, any adults. There's very limited research right now as far as like teenagers, but for any adult, it is safe and effective as long as there's no prior kidney conditions. If there are, you definitely want to avoid it unless your doctor clears you to take it. As far as the should I take it, because there's also that question. Yes, it's good, but do I really need it? You don't have to. I do personally recommend it for the majority of my clients, especially because they're all resistance training. It greatly increases their recovery ability and just their building of muscle and burning of fat. But it's good for any population, regardless if they work out or not. The best types that you'll see if you were to go look for it in the store or online, that there's different types, but the most popular and the best option, one that you can count on, is creatine monohydrate. Just that. nothing else, just creatine monohydrate. It's affordable, it's effective, it's safe. Again, as I discussed earlier, there's certain criteria you want to look for as far as certifications on supplement labels, which we can get into that later. But just taking 3 to 5 grams, which is what would be suggested on the container, is all you need in a day. You don't need to load it. You can take it anytime. It's just a wonderful thing. I take it every day. I've been taking it for well over a decade. Okay, so then the next, oh, well, I guess I should let the guys, y'all want to add anything to that or any questions in the chat for creatine?
Nothing around creatine. Andrew, you have anything to add? Any?
No, it's my favorite supplement. It's by far, but that's me personally. And yeah, it's just one of those things. It's safe, it's effective, it works. Like, and it's cheap as hell. It's like, love that.
Yeah, I think the biggest question I get is like, which one should I buy? I try to find the ones with one ingredient, creatine monohydrate, nothing else. It's cheap, it's inexpensive. If it's any more like additives and stuff, it's probably a little bit of marketing to just try to differentiate. If you want recommendations, all 3 of us have been on it for probably 10 or more years, and we can probably give you some really good, inexpensive brands. So again, my favorite as well.
Yep.
The real quick, just a note, because I do think there is that like maybe it's a stigma or something, or just maybe just some thoughts in people's head. Guys, girls, it's extremely beneficial for both. I mean, it's if you're doing resistance-based training. I mean, even if you're not, but if you're doing resistance-based training, especially, it is going to be a huge benefit, or at least a benefit in general, and it's worth the dollar. Whereas a lot of supplements, like a belly burner or a thermo, like I could go down the list of shiny label supplements that we've all tried. Believe us, everyone on this call has tried. But a lot of them are not worth a fraction of the cost you pay for them. Creatine is the inverse, so it's cool.
Absolutely. All right, the last one, gluten. So much talk around gluten. Is it good? Is it bad? It's a common theme and topic in society, I should say. And then one of the questions that was actually asked, or somebody had told them about it, was, does gluten cause inflammation in 99% of people? Well, that's false. In fact, only approximately 1% of the population has celiac disease, and then another 5 to 6% have non-celiac gluten sensitivity. So for the rest of us, it doesn't cause inflammation, and whole grains can actually help reduce it. If we get into a habit because of things we've heard that scare us, and we end up restricting a lot of gluten, that can end up lowering your fiber and nutrient intake, which can have its own issues as a side effect. So should you avoid gluten if you're not allergic? No medical reason? No need to cut it. Gluten-free does not equal healthier. Often it means it's more processed. Listen to your body, not to the latest trend. You know your body best. And if you are unsure, that's where, having a nutrition coach and talking to your health provider is the next step, not what Google says. But we've all done that too. So no shame, no judgment, no shame. All right. So that was like the main part with everything. Did any of these myths hit home for any of y'all tonight? Is there one thing you might try or look at differently now? Answer in the chat.
Yeah, I'd love to just hear, is there anything we didn't address on any of these? Any questions?
Yeah,
we got a lot of questions around protein. We got about 10 minutes left, so we left a little bit of time. Just questions or concerns around any of these, any experiences that people have had, good or bad. We'd love to just open up to the group a little bit. While we're in through any questions in the chat, if you want to just hop on and talk, if we got any brave souls out there, go ahead. One of the questions we didn't get to, CJ asked a few minutes ago, just differences in collagen powder versus straight up protein powder. Like, what are your thoughts on why people would take a collagen powder versus like a whey protein? What are the differences and benefits of each?
Short answer is it doesn't provide as much protein, but it is a very good supplement to add in. You can mix it in with your coffee and then have your protein powder later on. You can mix it in with your protein powder. It is additional protein source. If I had to choose between the two, I would choose the whey isolate or some form of protein powder like that versus the collagen, just because of the level of protein that you will get. Sorry, go ahead.
So Ashley, because I just want to be really clear about this for myself, it's more about the level of protein, not a difference between what whey protein does for you with what collagen does for you in your body.
And yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little difference in, and again, some of this could be anecdotal, honestly, but when we look at like whey versus collagen, we tend to look at like the connective tissue for collagen. So like when we're thinking about the human body, like collagen might be better for like skin, joint, bone, but not, and whey protein, think of it like as your muscles, but it's not, they both do both things.
Right.
So that a lot of that too comes down to marketing. I'm sure everyone here, especially ladies, have heard collagen for hair, for skin, for nails. Like that's almost how it's marketed now, rather than the only sole purpose of it. So just be mindful of that. Like, I mean, you can take both, like Ash said, that they are interchangeable. It's more about the amino acid profile on those. So yeah.
And I also want to add to that too, when it comes to, collagen versus whey protein, I challenge you to look at it as, do I take collagen protein or not? That is more like a grain of sand in the jar of things you need to focus on. The basics, like just simply eating enough throughout the day, getting enough protein in general, regardless of where it's coming from, those are going to be more important. Working out, all of the stuff that y'all are already doing, and those little things, those come in way, way, way down the road if they're even necessary.
Yeah, it's really good.
Sorry.
No, it's good. Karen put a question in there, kind of more of a comment, and I kind of want to address it. Karen said she'd love some ideas during the one-on-one calls for breakfast ideas that have more protein. And again, for everyone, that's exactly, whether it be this month or in the future, Andrew and I always have these call invites out there for anybody to use. That's like a perfect example, because I can give you a million ideas of what a great breakfast would look like for me. And I always tell everyone I'm very boring. I eat the same breakfast. It gets me about 70 grams of protein in my morning. But I'm a boring eater, and I'm happy with what that meal looks like every day. I could eat it every day, and I do about 90% of the time with little deviations. But that's, again, a perfect thing for me and Andrew to talk to you about. Like, what do you like? What do you enjoy eating? For me, breakfast is all about consistency. And if I can help you find what you could eat 90% of the time, and it gets you your protein and other macronutrients, you're going to be really good at it. If you're trying to switch it up all the time and find variations, generally that's a lot harder. So, but Karen, I thought it was a great call out, because I use that as an example. Like, whether it be this month or 6 months from now, we're coming up with some really good conversations of what me and Andrew envision, what these one-on-one calls would look like 15 to 20 minutes, helping you pick out what is the right protein mix for you. Because it might be like, hey, whey during the day, and hey, maybe there's a collagen bone broth there's one that I like that I drink at night. It just helps me relax. It's got some relaxing stuff in it. It's great. We can help you with that. Or hey, maybe Karen, let's really figure out what is a breakfast, 1 or 2 things that you can eat 90% of the time. We can help you come up with that. So that's exactly what we want to use these calls for in the future. So good call out. Anything else? Questions? Anything else around creatine, or just I can give a recap real quick of like what we wanted as our big takeaways if we don't have anything else.
I'll just one last thing on this real quick. I do want to emphasize the idea that supplementations, while they may, they're really, I would say, popular because people can make money off of them easier than anything else. So just be mindful, guys. If a supplement, this is what I always say about everything. If a supplement worked the way it's generally marketed, every single person you know ever would take it. It would not be a hidden gem. It would be every single person, right? So it's like that fat burner we're talking about. It wouldn't be $49.99 at GNC. We'd all be taking it right now and be like, oh my God, I have no body fat, right? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at supplements. The reason they get so much attention is because they make money, right? So when we talk about supplements, what we're trying to do again is trying to filter out some of that and help you guys understand, you know, I know things come in a flashy bottle. I know they're guaranteed to work and blah, blah, but I know all of us on this call have had at least one supplement in our life that is overpromised, under-delivered. And that's generally the norm when you go outside of those kind of like really easy ones, you know, to understand, like protein and creatine, honestly.
I see Dawn's question in there. Can I answer that for her real quick?
Yeah, for sure. I have an opinion too, so I think we'll probably think the same on this one.
Dawn, so your question regarding, you know, is there a flavor? What do you mix it in? So you can get flavorless or you can get flavored. I personally prefer flavorless because I can mix it into literally anything. I mix it into just straight water at times, or I pour it into my protein shake, whatever the case may be. It's completely flavorless. Like it's the easiest way to do it. And the scoop is so tiny that you use.
Yeah, I was going to say 100%. I love the flavorless. The flavored ones, I struggle to drink another drink.
Right.
Like another thing.
Right.
I literally put my creatine next to my coffee maker. And every morning when I get my morning coffee, scoop of creatine goes in there. Sometimes I can taste the grit a little bit, a very tiny amount, but it's 100% tasteless. So Dawn, everyone, I'd recommend put it next to something that you drink every day, whether it be you're filling up a water container in the morning, scoop it in there. If you have coffee, scoop it in there. If you're a shake person, it definitely won't taste it in like a shake or throating. You won't even taste it at all. Just sometimes in my coffee, like I said, I can taste it. Doesn't disintegrate all the way, so you can feel the grit a little. But other than that, it doesn't taste like anything. It's more about consistency, and I've always been more successful with flavorless as opposed to this other thing I got to drink throughout the day. So great question, Dawn. We hear that a lot. All right, just for the sake of time, just wrap up. Reflect on the myths that we talked about tonight. You know, there's going to be more questions.
Yes, Tommy.
First cup of coffee and then collagen in the second. Yes, you can. You can mix them together, Tommy. I don't think putting them together will even do anything. So, yeah. So, like, there's going to be questions. There's going to be thoughts. Ping us after this chat. One-on-ones are there for you. And let us know what else comes up, because that'll guide the future calls, whether it be myths or just topics. We're going to send out some podcasts. I gave Judy Ann earlier this month a podcast that me and Ashley listen to on the regular, and they did a 30-minute why every woman should be taking creatine. Again, not gospel, but it was really a deep dive into creatine. So anybody that's interested in that, I'll throw that out there this month. I thought it was really informative that, again, went deeper into the myths that you hear and also the benefits neurologically that creatine can give to you. So it was too much to put on this call tonight, but I thought it was a really informative deep dive in that, and they do it at a level that anyone can understand. So I'll send that out along with a few other resources around protein. And then just in here, I'll send this deck out. These are kind of like our big truth bombs or, takeaways. So you can, come back to this if you forgot what we talked about. And then our challenge for the next week is implement a small shift in your habits. Maybe aim for 30 grams of protein. Consider creatine and either discuss it with your doctor. If you're unsure, talk about it with us on our one-on-one. Let go of guilt around gluten and carb consumption. Talk to us about those things, but don't feel guilty about it unless you're having an actual reaction to it. I like what Ashley said. Don't listen to Instagram and Google. And just choose one of those actionable items and throw it in the chat. We'd love to hear from everybody. What is that one thing? Throw it in the community chat that we have, so we can see who's working on what different things. And we got one last question. 3 to 5 grams of creatine, Dawn, is all you need. Like, you know, you're going to read a lot of things out there. It says more, but if you can just it's more about getting that every day than about doing more. 5 grams every day is the most accepted. And this creatine is highly, highly studied, most studied supplement of all time. 5 grams is what I would say. Am I wrong, guys?
No, I would absolutely agree. I would just say, just do the scoop that's in there. Do that one scoop. You're golden. Don't overthink it. It's fine.
Justin. Good stuff. Anything to add, Ashley, Andrew?
Nope. Thanks everyone for hopping on the call. Thanks Ashley and Garrett. You guys rock. That was great. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome, everyone. We'll send the deck out shortly. Thanks for everyone's engagement. See you soon.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.